What do you guys want?
I'm Officer Cole Phelps. This is Officer Dunn, Wilshire Division.
Hey, what's up, Forum? It's Donkey Kong, and Noire was just released last Tuesday, May 17th of this week. It's an open-world sandbox game made by Team Bondi in conjunction with Rockstar Games. It follows the same cinematic style of film noir made popular in the 1940s and 50s, and takes place in Los Angeles during a year that was considered to be one of the most dangerous in LA's history. I know a lot of people have been curious about the game, so I thought I'd give my first impressions of what I've experienced so far. Now, I haven't played it a whole lot yet, so I've got FlakFire here, who's a little bit ahead of me, to provide his feedback as well.
Hey, folks.
Hey, Flak, glad to have you on. So, just right out the gate, what is your impressions of the sounds and the graphics for this game?
Well, the sounds to start with, you know, they paid a lot of attention to the detail and the background noise, and, you know, you will hear people talking on the streets from time to time. I mean, they go down to the nitty-gritty detail. So much as the streetcar going by. That surprised me at first. I didn't know what it was, but I'd never heard a streetcar in my life, so that just goes to show you kind of what they do with that. But even down to the changing of the flags on the period light poles at the time, that's there as well.
And you mentioned something about jazz music. They did a good job of implementing.
Yeah, the soundtrack has been, you know, widely hailed as one of the best in, you know, recent years, at least for gaming anyway. That, you know, it uses a lot of period singers, jazz musicians, Ella Fitzgerald obviously up there with that, and it definitely piques some people's interest for that alone.
Yeah, I have to agree. They do a great job from the voice acting to the sound, just from your environments, setting up a really strong atmosphere that recreates 1940s. Obviously, I wasn't there, but I mean, they do a good job of setting the mood for the game. How about graphics?
Well, Cable might have been there at 1940, you know. But,
yeah, have to ask him.
Graphics are well, about what you'd expect for an open world game. You know, they don't have all the memory and everything they can dedicate to make it look all fancy, but I tell you, you can tell that they put some work into it. During one of the load screens, a message came up and it said, you know, LA has been recreated to 90% of what it looked like back in that time period, and it was restored from aerial photography, from other photography, street maps, that kind of stuff, and it shows, and you feel like you're in LA, and it's that time period. It's absolutely awe-inspiring.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously they have limited memory with a game that's of that scale, but they do a great job with it, and they do a good job of modeling film noir of the 40s and 50s. I think you even have a black and white featured if you really want to simulate that film genre. But the big thing in terms of graphics is the motion capturing for the facial expressions. What's your opinion on that?
I tell you, it looks, I'm going to say, a little bit creepy in the effect that it really looks that realistic, and you feel like you're looking at a person who's wearing a computer-generated suit, if I can put it to you that way. I mean, but absolutely amazing. Like, this kind of technology we haven't really had a chance to see before, and you know, when you get down to the gameplay, you realize just how important such a development is. But I mean, they use 35 video cameras to record the actor's face, and you know, I think we might see this in the future a lot more, where voice actors, you know, might be out of a job if they can't you know, actually act along with it, if this becomes a standard in the industry.
Yeah, I could see that. They already said they're using it for Grand Theft Auto 5. Now let's talk about gameplay and how the game utilizes that motion, the facial capture in gameplay mechanics.
Well, that's something that, you know, you are a detective. You talk to people. You have to be able to judge, you know, the truth of what they say. And as part of the gameplay, when you're interviewing a suspect or witness, you know, you have three options that you can choose in relation to a statement that they made. It's either they're telling the truth, you doubt what they're saying, or they're lying, and you know, you have to have reasoning to kind of back up your decision on that. But you know, as somebody who, you know, studied speech communication, nonverbal cues are something that's really important. When you see somebody's eyes dart back and forth, or they stare at the ceiling, or they give you this smile, you know something's up from that. And you can definitely make your decisions on it, but it's something you got to pay attention to. So this might be something, turn off the cell phone if you're going to play this game.
Yeah, they're definitely taking full advantage of this motion capture, this facial capture technology, because that's the primary, at least that's one of the key elements of this game, is interrogation. It kind of breaks it down. You're in the shoes of a detective, so you have to investigate a crime scene. You have to talk to witnesses, see if they're telling the truth, find all the evidence on there, identify it, and then finally you have to interrogate the suspect, and you have to determine if he's lying, strictly based on your evidence and the facial cues. So you still have the same staples from previous Rockstar games. You have a lot of driving. There's nothing special about the driving. It's the same it's been since Grand Theft Auto 4, and the shooting mechanics. So you have the cover and the little white dot to shoot people. So they haven't really done anything different with that. So the big draw for this game will be the detective mode aspects. So final thoughts. Who do you suggest should pick this game up?
I myself, I like to play the single-player campaign on any game. I have to do that before I play multiplayer. We talked about this a little bit before in a previous conversation, but this is a very cerebral game. It's slow-paced. It's not Grand Theft Auto 5, and I think a lot of people are going to expect it to be. But if you like games that make you think, that have a deep storyline, and I'm just uncovering some of it. I'm only about 4 hours into the game, but it's drawing me in pretty quick here, and it's definitely worth picking up for those of you who like that kind of stuff. If you're not sure that you're going to like it, you got to at least rent it anyway, just to see the facial capture technology.
Yeah, what I'll say from what I've seen so far, if you're tired of the sandbox model game, if you were bored with Red Dead Redemption fairly quickly, this might not be the game for you because it's the same core engine being utilized in this game. What I will say, though, is even though it's using the same core engine, Rockstar does an amazing job of catering to different genres and making you feel like you're part of that, I guess, that setting. What I mean is in Grand Theft Auto 4, it made you feel like you're a Russian gangster with the elements they included. In Red Dead Redemption, of course, it made you feel like you're out in the Old West with the mechanics they had in that game. And in this game, they do a very good job of faithfully recreating the crime investigation movie, the same detective movie. And if you're a fan of that genre, then I definitely recommend picking it up. But like you said, it's a little slower, might not be up everybody's alley. I have had a lot of shootouts. There are shootouts in the game, so if you're looking for action in that sense, there is. But the bulk of your time is going to be detective work. So if that doesn't sound like something you're interested in, might not want to pick that up. But it is a great experience, especially for the story. But thank you, Flak, for coming on and giving me your opinions of the game.
Happy to be here.
And as always, guys, take it easy.